Hello?
Hello, this is Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Good.
Hi, this is Ted.
John Tooman, hello.
Hi, it's Michelle.
Hi, this is Atusa. Hi, Dr. Tuman.
Hi, Lisa, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Kenzie. Good, how are you?
Hello, I'm Joanna from Nevada State.
Good Monday, get home for you, Robbie.
I'm TV from CBC.
I'm John Hay from UNLV.
I'm Tom Herring from Western Nevada College.
Lucas from UNLV here.
And David from UNLV.
Hi, Sham Sitaraman, CSN.
I'm Brian from TMCC.
David Cooper from Nevada State.
Cynthia Connor from CSN. Hi, I'm Erin from UNR.
I'm Allison from UNR.
Sabrina Matt from TNCC. Cynthia Davies from TNCC.
Hello. Hello, I am Lakshmi Gowali, Chair of the Computer Science Department, UNLV.
Hi, I'm Jorge Fonseca, Assistant Professor in Computer Science, also at UNLV.
Well, we're going to go ahead and get started here, and then we'll have an opportunity, obviously, for everyone to connect more in the discipline groups here. Just want to kick this off here. My name is Daniel Archer. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs here at INCHE. First of all, I just want to let you all know I appreciate you all lending your time and expertise today here. This work really relies on the deep subject knowledge that you all bring as faculty, so we're really grateful for your time and energy and efforts today. We're going to start out in a larger group here and just going over some kind of basic instructions and some basic background information. That'll probably last maybe 12 to 15 minutes, and then we will break out into your discipline groups to review the exams here. So in terms of the day, there's really kind of four key pieces. We're going to provide some background information. We'll talk about why we're doing this work, what started this work. We'll talk about the credit for prior learning exams. We'll talk about the exam materials that we'll be kind of utilizing here. We'll walk through those materials. We'll talk about your role and the facilitator's role in the process to make sure everyone's kind of on the same page. But in terms of just some background information here to kind of kick things off, essentially the credit for prior learning work is rooted in the strategic plan, the system strategic plan, which was approved in January of 2025. So this is relatively kind of fresh and new here. So it's highly emphasized in the strategic plan here. And we're talking about credit for prior learning. It's important that we take a moment here just to define it, just to make sure we're on the same page here, because I know there's probably varying levels of experience with this. And this is from the Council for Adult and Experiential Learning, otherwise known as CALE. This is one of the more common industry definitions that's out there. You'll see as a term for various methods that colleges, universities, and other education and training providers use to evaluate learning that has occurred outside of the traditional learning environment. So again, that's one of the more common definitions. In terms of the application with our strategic plan and connection there, we had a lot of feedback on credit for prior learning and putting this plan together. We have real explicit feedback that we needed to create more avenues for students to earn credit for prior learning, to really go outside of exams and look at things like licensure and certification. And so there'll be an emphasis on that. But obviously the big reason why we're here today is getting to that second component here. We had feedback that we needed to build more really congruity among the existing opportunities for credit for prior learning that we offer through nationally recognized exams here. And so we had feedback from K-12 on this. We heard from students on this. We had different people within INCHE and institutions point this out here, and kind of looking at some of the differences when you looked at some of the nationally recognized exams and the credit that was associated with those exams. There are some incongruities in the system here. And so we had feedback from the ranking committees. We went back and did some research and found that there were some. The differences we found, I want to emphasize, were not the result of any mistake or wrongdoing on the part of our institutions here. We never required this in policy. We never really asked for this or requested it here. So the differences that we see, I think they're just the natural result of local choices that were made over time. So it makes sense that institutions have handled these things differently. And so just to provide a couple of examples here, we've got a case study here with our renowned scholar here, Ron Burgundy, and just kind of looking at advanced placement world history. And by the way, these examples are not disciplines that are being reviewed today, but this is just one example here. So in this particular example, if he goes to one campus, he has an opportunity to earn up to 6 hours world history, 1 and 2. If he goes to another campus within NC, he has an opportunity to earn 3 hours. If he goes to 3 of our campuses, he has an opportunity to earn elective credit, which may or may not help him depending on what his major is and how much flexibility there is. And then if he goes to one campus, he will not get any credit. So essentially we're talking about the same exam and 4 potential different credit outputs there. And then another example here, we've got another case study here with Ricky Bobby is our case study student here. In this particular example, he's taken one of the CLEP exams. He's taken an accounting CLEP exam, and at one campus, if he gets a 50 or higher on that, he has an opportunity to get 6 hours. That's the way it is right now. If he goes to another campus, he has an opportunity to get 3 hours of sort of accounting 1 credit. And then if he goes to one campus, he gets elective credit. And then if he goes to 3 campuses, he does not get any credit. So again, we're looking at the same exam, the same score essentially, a 50 or higher, and there's 4 different credit possibilities here. So the goal is to have students receive the same recognition for the same score and have that apply across NC here. That's why we've organized 32 different disciplines to make sure that faculty expertise are really driving this work here. So 32 discipline group meetings, we've done 17 at this point here, so we're a little over halfway done. I do want to emphasize that this work is not unprecedented. There are other systems and states that have dealt with this very specific challenge, and they've brought faculty together to do this work here, and the disciplines have been able to come together and come to an agreement and kind of make this work. And just as one example, one of our neighboring states here, Utah, did this work here recently. And very much like NC, obviously, they have a multitude of institutions with different missions, functions, goals, student populations, and they were able to come together and make this work. Some other pieces here, just in terms of today and kind of the lineup, looking at the disciplines, the facilitators, and the exams, you'll see that here. Obviously, there are some disciplines that will be reviewing multiple exams, some will be reviewing as many as 3, some will be reviewing 2, some will be reviewing just 1, so it varies. In terms of how long this is going to take, I think that's a question we're getting. That's a fair question. It's hard to determine that because it's varied so much. We've had some disciplines, again, we've done 17 of these now. We've had some disciplines wrap up as soon as 20 minutes. We've had other disciplines go for 2.5 hours. So that's kind of been our max at this point. And we had one last week that I had kind of forecasted would be relatively short, and ended up going over 2 hours. So it's hard to say with any kind of confidence how long these will last. I think it'll vary based on the discipline, obviously, and the number of exams that will be reviewed as well. In terms of the exams here, there's really 3 again that we're looking at. The one that probably has the most familiarity is the advanced placement, which is commonly referred to as AP. Again, I think a lot of you all are probably aware of this. A lot of you all probably took these as high school students, or maybe your kids have taken them, or maybe you've been involved in a review before. But this is obviously very ingrained in the higher education system here in Nevada, or with our K-12 system, I should say. We look at this, you'll see that over 25,000 of these, or there were over 25,000 students, I should say, that took an AP exam in 2024, and there were over 42,000 exams administered. You'll see that 94% of Nevada public high school students were attending a high school that offers at least 5, so that's pretty significant. That's one of the bigger access indicators is, do you attend a high school that has at least 5? In our case, nearly 19 out of 20 do, which ties us for second in the country. So this is very prevalent here in Nevada. In terms of the scoring we're looking at here, we're going to be looking at a baseline score of 3 and looking at any credit that's associated with that. And then in some cases, there may be additional credit that is warranted if a student earns a 4 or 5. That's detailed in your instructions there. But again, that's the AP. The CLEP exam is set up a little differently. This is not really tied to a course. You basically take the exam. You take this in our one of our test centers, and you'll see that these accepted by over 2,900 colleges and universities. This has primarily been something for adult students when you look at the data on who takes these. In terms of what we're looking at here is we're looking at an exam score of 50 or higher and looking at any credit that would be associated with that here again with the CLEP specs. And then lastly, the one that probably has the least amount of familiarity is something that's been around for a long time, but hasn't necessarily been around for a long time here in the States. Something that's been very much prevalent in Europe, and it's been utilized in other continents. It's starting to gain more and more traction here, and set up very much like an AP, in that you take kind of an honors high school course, and then at the end you take an exam. If you earn a requisite score, you're able to earn collegiate level credit. There is kind of a line of demarcation because there's a standard level and there's a high level. And the difference is based upon the number of hours of instruction. You'll see that about 240 hours are associated with the higher level and 150 are associated with the standard level. And in terms of what we'll be looking at today, and again, this will be detailed in the instructions, but we're looking at the standard level score of 5 and a higher level score of 4, and then looking at any credit associated with that, those respective scores. In terms of the materials that we're looking at here, we'll have background information on each exam. I think that's especially helpful with the International Baccalaureate, with that being one that most people haven't dealt with a lot. We'll have the official test and course information for the exams that come straight from the vendor, which I'll talk about here in a moment. We'll provide current credit awarded within INCHE, so you can have an opportunity to see what your institution is doing, what the other INCHE institutions are doing in terms of the credit that they're awarding right now, so you can see the commonality, you can see the differences. There are certain cases where we're really close. There are certain cases where we're farther off. But that's there to provide some context. ACE recommendations, the American Council on Education, is one of the older, larger national higher education entities, and they recommend credit on a variety of these exams, not every single one, but on the majority of these exams, they have made recommendations on potential credit awards. So again, that's ACE. And then there's a credit recommendation template that the facilitator will complete, which we'll talk about here in a minute. And lastly, in some cases, we did include examples of credit awarded outside of INCHE. We really focused on UNR and UNLV and their peers and what were they awarding based on these exams, and also looking at Association of American Universities, AAU, which most everyone's probably familiar with. It's top 60 or 70 universities in the United States and Canada, and kind of looking at what they're doing there, and that's just to provide some external context and kind of looking at what's going on outside of Nevada. Other pieces here, exam materials to cover this. One thing you'll see when you're looking at each respective exam area, there's a section that'll say content to help review. If you click on that, a lot of you all have probably seen this by now if you've looked at this, but that will take you directly to the information from the vendor. So in this case, we're looking at our history. You're able to open up that PDF and see the course framework, sample questions, and things like that. Other pieces here before we wrap up here. In terms of the facilitator, they're going to take roll, they're going to guide the review here, they're going to complete the paperwork based on the recommendations that you all provide. They will serve as a point of contact for any follow-up questions. So again, that's the facilitator role. In terms of faculty, you all will be looking at the instructions and then recommending any score as well as the credit associated with that score. And I'll kind of walk through again what that'll look like on paper. And then recommendations that you all will make will go to the Academic Affairs Council, which is the chief academic officers at the 7 INCHE teaching institutions, and they'll kind of finalize the process. In terms of just the review itself here. Faculty, again, will review the course and the exam, decide which NC courses it best matches, and then the facilitator will record the course that should be awarded for a student, in this case, who would earn a score of a 3, because we're talking about an AP exam. So that the facilitator would put, you know, ENG 101, English Composition 1, the number of credit hours. That's pretty straightforward. And then the facilitator will also record any additional credit that should be granted if the student scores a higher score. And obviously, again, there'll be cases where there will not be any additional credit based upon a 3, but there will be other cases where it may be warranted here, and that'll be discussed within your review here. So that wraps up my portion here. So we will get you arranged into your groups, and I'm going to turn it over to Donna Healy. Donna, can you provide the instructions like you did last week and how we're going to break everybody up?
Absolutely. The breakout rooms are already put together for each discipline, so you should go there automatically once I click the button. If you don't find that you're still here in the main room, look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and there should be an option to self-select your discipline breakout room and ask me if you need help. I'll be right here waiting. So thank you all.
See what you have to. Hold on 1 second.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi there. Can everyone see my screen?
Hi, Shan.
Okay, perfect. My name is Kimiko Walton.
Okay. Oh, let me. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we got it. UNLV?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So my name is Kimiko Walton. I'll serve as the facilitator for our computer science review. I serve as the AVP for academic partnerships here at the College of Southern Nevada. So really briefly, I kind of went around and took attendance during the presentation. So just really briefly, I want to ensure that I haven't missed everybody. I have WNC accounted for, CSN. Is Walter Choi here from CSN?
I'm here.
So much. And is George
Yeah.
here from you? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm on 2 different laptops, but I'm here.
And then we have Aaron here from UNLV, DB here from GBC. Have I missed anybody?
Who is Aaron from UNLV?
I think you meant UNR, Aaron.
I'm from UNR. It's okay. I figured we all knew what was up, so.
Okay. I'm sorry. We have Aaron
It's all
from
good.
UNR. Okay. So we have everybody present, so we'll go ahead and move forward. I think, you know, we have a
One more question before you start.
Yes,
How long it will last? Because I have another meeting.
how long will this last? Is this
What would be the approximate period?
Yeah. So
I
we
have-
so we have until 5 o'clock. Hopefully we won't go until 5 o'clock. You know, this conversation is up to the group, right? So however long it will take us to come to a consensus on the charge. You know, as Vice Chancellor Archer said, some groups were done in 20 minutes, some groups took 2 hours. So
Okay, so let's try to do it in half an hour.
Okay.
Let's try to do it in half an hour.
all right, we'll see how fast we can move through this. So for AP Computer Science, so that's our first discipline that we'll need. I'll need you guys to do a review on. Here you can kind of see the courses are varied across the institution for a score of A3, and this is for the AP. So these are the AP scores for computer science principles.
Right.
So the class is computer science principles, and it's the AP exam. So for a score of 3, there has been no class identified for UNLV. It's just computer science lower division elective. For UNR's Computer Science 105, Nevada State University in elective, CSN, Computer Science Lower Division elective, GBC, CIT 129, and Computer Science 105 for TMCC, and we don't have anything listed for WNC.
Point of order, would you like us to interrupt you or just like let you speak the section?
Yeah, if you could just let me get through this piece, because I'm gonna really turn it over to you guys to have a conversation, because ultimately we really need to identify a common course for a score of a 3 across the institutions if we can. That's our charge, to come together to determine a common course for a score of a 3 and a common course for a score of a 4 and a 5 if we can. So I'll stop there and I'll turn it over to you guys to have a discussion, whoever wants to start first.
Okay, so we'll start first. First of all, can you hear me clearly
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
So for UNLV, it currently says CS lower division, but we would like to amend that to say CS 135 to be consistent with the other colleges as well for score of 3 or higher. It would be the first call.
Well, when you say consistent with other colleges, I see a number of different courses for that score. CIT 129, CS 105, so that's really 135. I'm not sure.
I'd also like to point out that we have a bit of an issue from the UNR side. We're no longer teaching CS 105 at all. We haven't offered it in many, many years. I do have some concerns about this course. I am a little unfamiliar with precisely what is covered, but my impression is that this course doesn't have as much or maybe as rigorous a curriculum around actual coding skills, which is the purpose of 135. But if I'm mistaken, please do correct me, because if it does cover that in depth, that would absolutely expedite this. But my impression was that it was broader, and then there was a different AP class that was more about programming skills specifically.
Correctly. If I could jump in really quickly. So this particular course, AP Computer Science Principles, is an introductory college-level computing course that introduces students to the breadth of the field of computer science. So it's really broad. AP Computer Science A, which is the next course that we'll need to talk about, is an introductory college-level computer science course which focuses on computer skills related to programming in Java. So that particular course, once we go further down, aligns more with Computer Science 135, to UNLV's point. This course, this is a very broad course, very introductory, and it introduces students to the breadth of the field of computer science.
Yeah, if I can throw in, if I can hop in here, I've taught both at the high school level. Computer Science A or CS Principles, AP-CSP is taught mostly to freshmen in high school. And when I was teaching AP-CSA, the object-oriented Java, it's taught more as this is an introduction to object-oriented programming. So it's taught at a much higher level.
I think 105 is appropriate, and I'm happy to agree to that. We just also haven't been offering it, but if that's not an issue, then I think it most aligns, or it best aligns with 105.
Kamiko, can I ask just what or how are we supposed to make this determination? For instance, I don't know what CS 105 looks like. We have at CSN a CIT 129, and secondly, I'm not sure what the test out looks like. How can we make this decision? So were we supposed to be given all this background before today? Because I don't have it.
Sure. Yeah, so you were supposed to be given the exam reviews.
Yeah, I may have missed that. Okay.
Yeah, so as an example, here is the link to the course and the exam description, and I have all of them up here. You know, I can scroll through them and we can walk through this as a group. There are a variety of different PDFs for AP Computer Science principles. The document that Vice Chancellor Archer referred to in the presentation, this is a 266-page document. And so it provides great detail on the exam itself, the course description. At the very bottom of this document is the actual exam review. So this is a very daunting document to go through this page by page. At the very bottom is the exam review. My hope would have been that you would have had a chance to review this. Again, I'm not an expert in this field. I don't know what is entailed in the current classes that are being taught amongst the institutions. So to your question, you don't know what CS 129, what that is. I don't either. So, hopefully the faculty member who is, at that institution, GBC, we have a representative here from GBC. If they could speak to CIT 129, that'd be helpful, just to share some background.
Yeah, that's my challenge, is that coming into this meeting, I didn't realize that we were supposed to review that documentation. Right or wrong, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay.
So I guess what I would suggest is I need to go back and look at that. I'm not going to be very effective in helping with this decision until I do that.
So then what do we do? Do we table the meeting until everybody reviews it?
Well, I mean, has everybody else reviewed it except me?
I have.
Yeah, I think the goal was to come to a consensus today. I can definitely text Vice Chancellor Arch. I mean, I know we don't want to be on this call for 4 hours, but we have 4 hours. And I don't want to dictate everybody's time. I know the charge was for us to come together and come to a consensus. I don't think there are any other meetings scheduled for this type of conversation, but I'll leave it up to the group. You guys let me know how you would like to facilitate this. I can definitely text Vice Chancellor Archer, have him come into our group and provide some insight there. But that would be my opinion.
We offer, as is Tony at WNC, we offer that CIT 129. And like I said, I've taught at the high school level too. I'd say that that's a really good class to substitute for AP CSP for the principles for the first course. I think that's a really good equivalent, having read the description.
And you say we don't have this course?
Well, we don't have the course anymore, the CS 105 course, so, at UNLV.
Since a bunch of us don't have CS 105, CIT 129 sounds like a good suggestion from someone who's already taught the class.
We could do CS 115 at UNLV instead.
Yeah. 115.
We don't really have an equivalent any longer at UNR, but I believe TMCC is still offering 105, so it's still alive up here, I guess.
TBC does not have a CS 105.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
115 is not prerequisite for anything. So
James, for CSN, do you have any idea of what the lower division elective would be? Do you have any idea of what it would be?
Well, I mean, we have a CIT 129, which used to be an IS 115. It's probably the same course, which is Introduction to Programming. So if that's kind of what we're talking about here, that's quite different than what was mentioned earlier as CS 135.
It's not a programming course.
Yeah.
I confuse them. AP Computer Science A is the programming one, which would be CS 135. This is a how to use computer course, kind of.
Well, ours is intro to programming, and it does go through programming. At the CSN, CIT 129 covers Python and the structures of basic programming.
So I think that would be more fit with the A, the AP Computer Science A, because this course, this AP test, and skips that class, they're expected to know the program, but this class, this AP exam doesn't teach them programming.
Yeah, so even that may not be appropriate for this, for at least how we define CIT 129.
Yeah, so that would be a problem. If it's a prerequisite for another class, and you. Yeah. I think the issue what we're all facing is that because this is a non-programming course, there's very little interest, and some of the groups here don't even teach that course. So I think that's the issue, that even if we offer this credit, no one's going to use it because it's not a required class, right?
If that's the case, what if we all decide not to give credit for this exam?
I would agree with that.
Well, CIT 129 is a required course for
Yeah, but it's programming for that, right?
CS degree, yes. So for our CS AAS, CIT 129 is a prerequisite, is a requirement. And it's a requirement for other courses that may require programming. I'm just saying that's what CSN is doing with that course.
So that could be the AP Computer Science A, the one they're talking about.
Right.
But for this, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, I have a question that's more kind of along administrative lines. So for the consensus that we're trying to come to, is it a requirement that we're currently offering the course that is the equivalent? Or is it enough that we have offered that course in the past and could potentially offer the course in the future? For example, we have offered CS 105 in the past. I have talked about potentially resurrecting that class because there is a growing need for a formal class to help students with basic computer skills. So is it still valid to list that as an equivalent, even though we're not currently offering it? Would that satisfy what we're trying to achieve today?
I think that's a great question. I think another great question would be to also see currently how many Nevada high school graduates are actually taking this AP exam, because that would also help us dictate whether or not this course is even relevant right now. And to your point, do we need to have something in place for these students to receive the credit? So that's a great question, Aaron. And I don't know if I have an exact answer for you on that. I think it'd be very helpful to know how many students are actually, completing this exam and getting the credit for it. At least having a score at a 3 or higher. And I know somebody had said they taught this. Tony, do you have any of that type of data as a teacher of this course?
Not as the turnover for what type of credit I get. I was pulling up the curriculum for APCSP. It does teach Python, goes through control structures, loops. It's a basic variables, goes through all the different parts of a programming language in Python. Makes you complete exercises, makes you write code, teaches abstraction. It's a, like I said, I think APCSP to me sounds like that. If anybody else is offering it, that CIT 129, it sounds like they align pretty dang well.
CIT 129?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I can share if you guys like. I don't know how to do it exactly. I can maybe pass along the PDF of that curriculum if you'd like it.
Just to be clear, you're suggesting 129 satisfies the AP Computer Science principles.
Well, I'd say if a person got a 3 on that APCSP, that'd be the equivalent of passing a CIT 129 class.
When you say APCSP...
Yeah,
okay,
CS principles.
Yeah, that's Computer Science principles. That's I would agree with that, because if you go down to the next one, which is AP Computer Science A, it seems to be pretty unanimous that CS 135 is given to that. So you wouldn't want that up in ASPCA, what is it?
Correct.
APCSP. And if we're going to assume that that's an introductory kind of course, I think at least for CSN, CIT 129 would fit into that.
Okay, thank you, James.
I guess I need to send to my powers that be that we need to align with that at WNC as well.
We don't have any issue.
Provided we all have the same interpretation of what CIT 129 is. So.
Sounds good.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
so, are there any, is there any opposition to, for a score of a 3 across the institution, CIP 129?
Agree.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, agree.
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 Just give me one moment so I can put this in here.
I'm happy to agree. We don't offer that course,
Sure.
but if that's not a requirement, then
It seems like that's okay.
Yeah, we can't, I mean, we won't be able to help if you don't offer the class, but for those
Yeah.
institutions who do offer the class, there's some commonality. CIP 129 has been agreed upon.
frankly, I'm good with that. I'm good with CS 105. I just don't want to see that this class fills the requirement for CS 135.
It won't.
It won't.
And anything below that is likely sufficient, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'll fill in the course title and the credit out. It's a 3-credit course, correct?
Yes.
I don't know about that. Good job. There we go. Okay, so then I would assume, and maybe I shouldn't, but there's no course for a 4 and there's nothing for 4 and a 5, correct? We're just talking about a score of a 3?
Yep. Agree. I don't know about others.
Does everybody else agree, or am I?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, okay. So now we'll come down to AP Computer Science A, which is where we have the 135 across the board, or except for UNR. We have, I believe this should be, I'm not sure who put the score of CS 135, 131, but I believe that should be 3, 4, and 5. So UNLV, UNR have CS 105, and then everybody else has C 130.
Yeah, that should be it for UNLV 135. I checked the catalog. So it's 135 for a score of 3 or higher.
Aaron, is it 105 for UNR?
I'm actually not sure officially.
I can try to help you find it in your catalog if you'd like me to.
Yeah,
let's-
we can wait.
Sure,
and
that would-
like to.
I mean, if that would expedite the process, then I'm not opposed.
I'll try. But at least for UNLV, it should be 3 or higher for CS 135. I confirmed, but I'm checking the UNR catalog right now.
Okay.
Give me a minute. Your guys' website is more complicated than ours.
Really quickly, while we're looking at that, I just wanted to share the peer institutions for, you know, the different NSHE schools and where they have fallen in that class. And some have even offered the same class for a score of a 4 and a score of a 5.
Advanced CS, advanced placement, you know, get like or something.
Yeah, they call it the CBAPE, I think. Yeah, CBAPE. They have a faster name for it. Okay, I'm looking right now. Computer Science A, you do have it as 105 for 3, and then 4 or 5 for 135. That's what the catalog says. So that is correct.
Okay.
What it says.
Okay.
I would suggest changing it to be 135 for 3 or higher to be consistent.
Yeah. Aaron, can you make that notation for UNR?
Sure.
Yeah, I think we would need to move forward.
Change that 405 to whatever that is, right? What is the course name?
They got it. Okay. It's good. It's good. That's nice.
I don't know that you want to do then. When you find that, you can share. Can you share this?
No, I think you
If you
guys
find it, do you need it?
Would you like the link? Actually, I'll put it on the chat so you have it actually. So you can show it to your admin.
Aaron, do you have access to the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just pasted it.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dr. Fonseca posted it. So,
Is CS 135 3 credits or 4 credits?
3.
Thank you for that, team. What about for a score of a 4 or a 5?
Actually, I don't know if this is gonna throw a wrench in the monkey works.
4, go ahead,
At
James.
CSN, CS 135 is 4 IUs, 4 credits, I mean,
Oh, is it?
because we have a lab component.
Okay.
So it's actually 3 plus 1. I don't know if you look at that differently. 3 lecture, 1 lab.
So we have a lab at UNLV, but it's a 0 credit lab.
We do the same.
Actually, I should check that. Maybe we do the same. I know we get paid
Yeah,
for the lab.
I think
We
it's-
get
I
paid
spoke
as
to
instructors,
Kevin.
yeah.
I believe Kevin Mess, his name is. I think he does the same thing, and it's a 0 credit lab.
Okay, I stand corrected then. I'll double check that, Kamiko, and get back to you.
If you would like, James, yeah, and I can add it when I send this document over to Vice Chancellor Archer. I can add notes. So that can be a note. Okay. Okay, moving on. Again, for a score of a 4 or a 5, is there any other course that might deem differently, or is there any course that would equivalent to a score of a 4 or a 5 at any of these institutions?
Nothing from UNLV.
Said not in UNLV. It's exactly.
UNR, CSN, GBC,
Nope.
WNC.
Nothing.
If anybody's using the chat, I'm not looking at the chat. Okay. Alrighty, so are we comfortable to move on?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so now we are at the International Baccalaureate Computer Science course. Again, International Baccalaureate exams provide students the opportunity to earn college credit through a globally recognized curriculum and assessment system. Faculty participation in this system-wide review involves recommending credit for the standard level exam for a 5, higher level exam for a 4, and a higher level exam for a 5. Again, these scores are based on the depth and knowledge of the hours of instruction for this class. So it's very minimal across the institutions for standard learning of a score of a 4. Really IS 101 at UNLV, and that's it.
So I put on the chat a link to the IB, I don't know, you call it syllabus, so you all can see what they teach. It's not programming, it's a very intro to computing thing. So I think that UNLV is fine with what they're offering. We don't teach those classes anymore, we're fine giving credit. However, we would recommend that UNR does not give credit for 135 for that class, because it's not programming.
Absolutely not.
So we are in agreement.
Yay.
We are in agreement.
Does UNR give credit at all, Aaron?
Currently, we don't have anything listed, and I don't believe we do. I would be fine with throwing IS 101 on there. We offer that course as well, and that would be lovely for consistency.
Okay. What about CSN, GBC, WNC?
Yeah, IS 101 for CSN would be fine. We offer it.
Thank you. Tony?
I agree, yeah, we could do IS 101, definitely.
Perfect.
Is there anything else?
Here's one more.
So that's for, so that's for score of 5 standard level. We're talking about standard level 4. Let me write that down in my notes. Standard level 4, IS 101. Nothing across the board for standard level 5. Are we okay with that? Or does anybody have any opposition to adding a course for that?
We're good.
Okay. So higher level 4, really we only have UNR there with Computer Science 135 and TMCC.
But we're saying this is not a programming class at all whatsoever. So, regardless of the score, that should be removed.
Okay. So TMCC is not here. I don't know what CSLELC is. Does anybody have any ideas?
Yeah, I think that's probably elective. There were we just basically copy and pasted, so I think it's probably a computer science lower division elective is what I'm guessing that the L means, and then the...
Yeah, it's on a different page in the document. It says what that acronym means. But yeah, it's something around lower elective or something.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chancellor Archer, glad you're here. Just wanted to ask you if it was okay when I send this spreadsheet over, this document over to you, to add just some additional notes that was discussed. Is that okay?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, higher level score of a 5, we have IS 101 and Information 100 for UNLV, GBC Computer Science 135. Discussion there.
GBC should not do 135, in my opinion. Yeah. It's not a programming.
Well, we have GBC here, so I'll turn it over to GBC to provide some comments there.
GBC has this course, 135.
But it's a programming class, right?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that if you allow the students to take the IB class and pass it, which is a non-programming class, they will skip your programming class.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm looking at the document now for the international, and and I'm trying to figure out its code here. It's got the HL extension. Students study one of the following options. One of those is object-oriented programming. So the question is, how does that apply here?
So they have to go which option they took it.
If you look at the second page, it has HL extension. I'm not quite sure what that means.
The problem is that they can choose that, but they don't have to choose it. So they could choose databases, they could choose modeling, so they could do the course without actually learning that programming component.
Yeah, it doesn't separate it out that way. You're right.
Yeah, so it's ambiguous. But my suggestion to a student that comes in, if they took the programming side, they can just do a credit by examination.
Yes.
But going back to the point about GBC, so are you sure you want the students to be able to skip 135 if they take this IB class?
I'm sorry?
Are you sure that you want students who take the IB class to skip CS 135? Because we think it might not be a good idea.
What is the IAV class? The CS 135 is an online class in GBC.
Yeah, so we're talking about, I just want to make sure we're talking about, right now we're talking about the IB Computer Science. So right now we've moved from...
I make a mistake. I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
For at level 5, what's your option? Is choose the IFIOY?
Well, if I may say, I think the recommendation to be consistent, because right now GBC is the only one that's not consistent, is to not offer credit for 135 for this IB.
GBC has IFIOY as well, so we can change the CS 135 to CS 101 if needed.
Great.
So we're saying change CS 135 to IS 101. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that what we're saying for? I know that's what we're saying for standard level 4, and I'm on higher level 5. Is that what we're saying for higher level 5? Okay.
Yeah, for GBC.
James, any insight for CSN?
Well, I'm still trying to interpret what that is, but I mean, I'd go along with the group as a consensus. I'm trying to figure out what this HL extension is. You know, it has databases, modeling and simulation, web science, object-oriented programming. Depending on what all that was, you could throw CS 135 in there. So I just don't know how to interpret that degree program.
But since it's a choice, they might choose something else and still get the HL5, and so I don't think we should put CS 135 in there.
Yeah, it might be better to leave that empty. I don't know that I would put 101 in there, but just leave that. No, there are no courses that you can test out of for them.
For higher level 5?
Yeah. We don't offer any credit for that. Unless we try to understand exactly how that works, but at this point, I don't know. It could be they choose something that's not appropriate.
Tony, what are your thoughts?
To me, it sounds like an IS 101 thing.
Agreed.
So all those for IS 101, say aye.
I agree. Agree.
Aye.
Yeah, agree.
Okay. So for consistency purposes, just to review, IB Computer Science standard level for a 4 IS 101. For standard level 5, we have nothing. Is that correct? For higher level 4, we have nothing. Or is it IS 101 for higher level 4 and IS 101 for higher level 5? That's where my confusion is.
Only 5 because of the extension, which they do something better, I think would be good.
So we really have IS 101 for standard level 4 and higher level 5 across the board. Is that correct?
Well, I just thought we were saying if you get a standard level 4 or above on this test, and I don't know how the IB test goes necessarily, but if you get above that, you get credit for the class.
You get credit for the class, correct?
Yeah, so wouldn't it apply to all of them?
Yeah, I'm having some confusion as well regarding the hierarchy of the scores. Because it doesn't seem consistent. Either the standard level 4 is good enough to get credit for the class, but 5 isn't because 5 is lower. But then we have a higher level 4 is not good enough to get credit for a course, but higher level 5 is. So is 5 a better score or is 4 a better score? Because inconsistent across the levels.
Right.
Yeah.
So, if I may say, it's not a test. For the IBs, it's a class, and it's how they enroll, the number of hours in the class. So if they do the core, it's 80 hours, and if they do the HL5, it's another 45 hours, which is the extension, which can be programming, but it could also be this database thing. So it's a course, and it's like more hours, then you get more stuff. But it's not.
Okay, great. So still with the numbering system, what direction does the hierarchy go? So higher level 4 and 5 is additional hours. Well, higher level is more hours. What is the 4 and 5 differentiation?
Good question.
That's a great question.
Let me see if I can. So I have it opened up here. I'll have to see if anybody sees anything. Please let me know. UNLV, is this what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Did you see a difference between a 4 and a 5?
Not so far, but I'm trying. It's just, I tried Googling it. It just says there's more workload, extra time, but there's no clear specifics.
Well, in section 4, it talks about sample questions. I was assuming in our conversation that there's a test here and that level 4 and 5 were scores. I guess we need to get an answer to that. It does have, at the bottom of that page, something called sample questions. It implies there's a test, right? An assessment?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so apparently that's what it is. So the HL4 and 5 is a grade.
That must be a test score. That's what I was thinking earlier. Yes.
Yeah, so the standard one, the HL is more hours, and then the difference between the numbers within HL is the score. So yeah, good catch.
I agree with that.
I didn't understand your question.
So given that, I don't know honestly whether we should do 4 or 5 because I don't know the test in detail. So we're just kind of blindly guessing.
If we assume that it is valid to give credit for IS 101 at a standard level 4, then it would stand to reason that the rest of them also would fulfill that requirement.
I
agree with that.
I agree with that too. 100%.
Agree.
Thank you.
The IS 101 across the board, across the level.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and fill out these sheets with the information that we have. Does anybody have any other comments, concerns, questions, thoughts? If you want to stay on while I fill out this sheet, that's fine too, or you can
I want to
stay
thank
for 2
you
hours.
for dealing with us crazy computer scientists. We're not very social. We apologize as a group.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
No worries.
Thank you for doing all this.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
I think we finished within an hour. That's great.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Okay.
Kristen, GBC, WNC, UNR. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Miko.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. My God.